You thought you were playing the game. But what if she flipped the board without telling you? No messages, no signals, just silence. And now, you're wondering if she's outplaying you, or simply done playing. But here's the truth. Her silence isn't the threat. Your reaction to it is. This isn't about getting her back. It's about getting yourself back before the silence consumes you both. The Stoic power shift. She's gone silent. No response, no explanation. And now, the silence isn't just something happening around you. It's starting to live inside you. You check your phone, then check it again. You wonder, is this working? But what you're really asking is, am I enough? That's the trap. Because the moment you need her to speak, you've already given her your power. And here's the truth no one wants to face. It's not her silence that breaks you. It's your attachment to the outcome. The Stoics knew this well. They weren't immune to emotion. They mastered it. They understood that life would test them with storms. But they refused to be ruled by waves they couldn't control. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's not just a quote. It's a way of living. In this moment, when she's not answering, not reacting, not chasing, you are standing at a crossroads. You can chase, panic, spiral, or you can do what 99% of men never will. Choose stillness, choose mastery, choose silence, not as a weakness, but as a weapon. Because when you no longer need her reaction, when you no longer fear her absence, that's when you become magnetic. You stop orbiting her, and suddenly, she begins to feel the shift, not through words, but through your energy. This isn't about faking strength. It's about becoming it. Dark psychology, scarcity, unpredictability, mystery. Most men think silence means nothing is happening, but in reality, silence is often when everything happens. Because no contact isn't passive. It isn't doing nothing. It's a message, a signal, a psychological disruptor. One that works on a primal level most people don't even understand. Let's start with scarcity. The human mind has a built-in bias. We value what's rare. The more available something is, the less weight we give it. It becomes background noise, taken for granted. But take it away. Remove the access, the attention, the comfort, and suddenly, the mind begins to panic. It creates longing. It begins to obsess over what it can no longer reach. This is why your silence matters more than any text you could send. Because when you were present, always reaching out, always chasing, always reacting, you were expected, predictable. But now, you've vanished from her emotional radar. And in that absence, a vacuum forms. And here's the secret. The brain has to fill that vacuum, not with facts, but with emotion. She will start to wonder. She will start to remember. And what was once overlooked becomes desired. Not because you've changed, but because you're no longer there. Then comes unpredictability. If you've always been the one to respond fast, to fix things, to be emotionally available on demand, that becomes a pattern. And the human brain craves patterns. We build entire emotional comfort zones around them. But the moment you break that pattern, the moment you stop responding, stop chasing, stop doing what she expects, you disrupt her inner narrative. Now she doesn't know what to expect. That discomfort, that tension in the unknown, it triggers curiosity. then it triggers anxiety, and eventually, it triggers emotional investment. Because unpredictability isn't just confusing, it's magnetic. The mind becomes hooked on solving the mystery, trying to regain a sense of control. And ironically, that desire for control pulls her deeper into your emotional orbit. But unpredictability alone isn't enough. You need mystery, because mystery doesn't just confuse, it compels. It activates the part of the brain that craves closure, understanding, completion. And right now, you're the unanswered question. You're the part of the story she doesn't fully understand. Why aren't you reacting? Why haven't you reached out? What are you thinking? Who are you becoming? The less you reveal, the more she fills in the blanks. And here's the kicker. People don't fill those blanks with neutrality. They fill them with emotion, regret, curiosity, even desire. Your silence becomes a canvas, and her mind starts painting pictures of you that you didn't have to lift a finger to create. Because when you detach, when you hold the line, when you stop trying to explain or justify, you create an emotional echo chamber inside her. And every echo she hears leads her back to you. But here's the warning. This entire dynamic collapses if your silence is fake. If you're sitting there, obsessing over her every move, checking your phone every hour, hoping she'll notice, she'll feel it. Even through the silence, she'll sense the weakness. Your energy will betray you, because silence only has power when it comes from strength, from emotional self-respect, from an internal calm that says, I don't chase, I don't beg, I don't need your reaction to validate my worth. That's when silence becomes a weapon, not to hurt her, but to rebuild you. Because when your silence is rooted in power, when it radiates clarity, composure, and certainty, it speaks louder than words ever could. And she will feel it. Whether she admits it or not, she will feel the shift. Internal shift, detachment, fortitude, and self-respect. At some point, something clicks. Maybe not loudly, maybe not all at once, but deep down, beneath the anxiety, beneath the thoughts spinning in circles, a quiet truth begins to emerge. This was never about her. Her silence, just the surface. What you're really confronting is you. Because in this void, in the stillness where text once buzzed and attention once flowed, you're left alone with everything you've tried to outrun. The fear of being forgotten, the ache of not feeling enough, the compulsion to be seen just to prove you matter. Her silence didn't create that. It revealed it. This is the moment most men run. They reach for the phone. They post something vague, hoping she sees it. They scroll through old pictures, memories, messages, desperately trying to reconnect with what was. But it's not her they're reaching for. It's the version of themselves they only recognized in her reflection. And this is why detachment feels so brutal. Because you're not just detaching from her. You're detaching from the idea that someone else was the source of your peace, your identity, your worth. But this is where the Stoic begins to rise. Detachment, in Stoicism, isn't about indifference. It's about clarity. It's about stepping back far enough from your emotions that you can hold them in your hands, not be swept away by them. It's the discipline of being able to say, yes, I feel this, but I am not ruled by it. When you detach from her silence, you reclaim control over the only thing that was ever truly yours, yourself, your thoughts, your values, your energy. And once that shift begins, the silence no longer feels like punishment. It feels like freedom. You stop checking your phone every hour, not because you don't care, but because you no longer need a response to feel complete. You stop rehearsing what you'll say if she reaches out, not because you've given up, but because you're no longer waiting. And in that stillness, something rare begins to form. Self-respect. Not the shallow kind, the kind that needs to be announced, posted, or validated, but the quiet, unwavering self-respect that comes from doing the hard thing. Facing your pain without numbing it, feeling your emotions without reacting to them, sitting in the fire without running from the heat. This is emotional fortitude, and like all strength, is not born from ease. It's built through resistance. Every time you choose not to reach out, every time you feel the ache but don't act on it, every time you turn your focus back to your breath, your goals, your path, you're rising. Not in her eyes, in yours. And here's the paradox. As you detach, you don't become colder. You become clearer. As you stop needing her, you don't lose value. You recognize your own. Eventually, she may feel the shift, the energetic silence, the pull. But by then, it won't even be about her anymore, because the man who needed her reaction is gone. And in his place stands someone new, someone solid, centered, and untouchable. Not because he played the game better, but because he stopped playing altogether and started becoming. Strategic response, reconnection versus rebuilding. Now that you've begun to shift inward, to detach, to reclaim your center, the next question arises. What do I do if she reaches out? Or even more painfully, what if she never does? This is where clarity becomes essential, because the goal is no longer to manipulate the outcome. The goal is to move in alignment with your values, regardless of what happens outside of you. The first rule is this: you never break silence just to relieve tension. If your desire to reach out is rooted in anxiety, loneliness, or the need to be seen, then you are still operating from weakness. And weakness always seeks immediate relief. But power waits. It observes. It allows time to unfold without force. When your silence is driven by strength, not strategy, your response, if it ever comes, will emerge not from fear, but from composure. And if she does reach out, you don't rush. You don't jump at the notification like you've been starving for her words. You take your time. You breathe. You remember who you are now, not who you were when this began. Your reply should not be laced with emotional need or validation seeking. It should be simple, calm, curious. No long explanations. No unraveling of everything you've held together. Something subtle, like, "Hey, I hope you've been well. I've been reflecting lately and thought about you." That's it. Nothing more. Just enough to acknowledge the moment without surrendering your dignity. But let's be honest. In many cases, she won't reach out. Not today. Not this week. Maybe not ever. And that has to be okay, because reconnection is not the goal. Transformation is. If you're still secretly hoping that this process will end with her crawling back and everything going back to normal, then you've missed the deeper purpose of this silence. The purpose wasn't to get her back. The purpose was to get you back. Stronger, sharper, grounded, untethered. Your energy must not revolve around her behavior. Instead, it should revolve around your own evolution. That means investing in your physical health, your mental clarity, your purpose. Read the books you've been putting off. Train like your life depends on it. Surround yourself with people who don't drain your spirit. Work on something that demands your focus and rewards your growth. When you do that, you stop being someone who waits. You become someone who builds. And when you build, you naturally create contrast. Because most men don't evolve. They react, they spiral, they chase. But you're not most men, not anymore. You've stepped into a mindset where silence is no longer something to endure. It's something you own. That kind of energy radiates. It moves differently. It doesn't need to shout, post, or plead. It speaks through presence. So whether she comes back or not, whether she notices or doesn't, you walk your path. You move with dignity. You remain composed. And if the opportunity for reconnection does come, you'll approach it not with hope, but with standards. You won't just ask if she's still interested. You'll ask yourself if she even fits into the man you're becoming. That is what it means to respond with strategy, not emotion. To act with intention, not reaction. To live as a stoic, calm, composed, and fiercely grounded, even when everything around you feels uncertain. At some point, the silence no longer hurts, not because the situation has changed, but because you have. You stop looking at your phone for answers. You stop watching her social media, hoping for signs. You stop wondering if she's doing no contact too, because you've realized it doesn't matter. Her silence isn't your enemy. It's just a mirror. And now, you've learned how to stop staring into it and start becoming what you were avoiding all along. A man who doesn't flinch. A man who doesn't chase. A man who doesn't beg the universe for comfort, because he creates it inside himself. This is the transformation that no one talks about. The moment you stop measuring progress by whether or not she texts you back, and start measuring it by how grounded you feel in your own presence. The moment you stop waiting for someone to pick you, and start choosing yourself without hesitation. And the moment you realize, the game isn't about getting her back. It's about never losing yourself again. So ask yourself, when the silence stretches on, when nothing comes, when the days pass without answers, who are you becoming in that stillness? What kind of man emerges from the fire of detachment, of discipline, of choosing composure over chaos? That's the question you need to sit with. Not, will she come back? But, will I rise? If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more Stoic wisdom. See you in the next video.